Happy Halloween, everybody. So you decided to join me on Halloween night. Ah. Halloween night. Yes, here it is, October 31st. Halloween is here. Yes. We're going to, this video is going on both the channels. So you enjoy it wherever it is you're watching it. Anyway, this is really cool. This is one of the Freddy gloves I built years ago. I think, in fact, I dated them. I'm kind of glad I did now. This one here is dated 2016. Yes. That's crazy to think that how long ago I made this. And I came up with, the idea and got some templates online and used them. And this one was, if I remember right, this was made out of a copper gutter that I found at the place called, I want to say it's called Gordon Sheet Metal. I did get a lot of stuff from Gordon Sheet Metal. This was back in the island, of course. Gordon helped me out big time. He was super cool about everything. Charged me really hardly anything for the stuff, and I was just kind of playing around with it mostly. I actually did sell a glove, one of them. I did sell for $100. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty cool. Anyway, so that's what we're kind of doing. We're just hanging out. My mom too did not want to hand out candy. She, I can't blame her there. I'm kind of the one. And check out the Nightmare on Elm Street T-shirt picked up. We had found out there's a new shop opening in town that hopefully is going to be selling all kinds of horror stuff all year round. So that'll be cool. In the back here, we changed the background a little bit. You can see this side's more of the mess. That's the that's all the catch-all other movies that I end up picking up here and there. Some strange ones, maybe not so strange. We got, like, on the top here, we got Heat of the Night. Great movie. They call me Mr. Tibbs. 48 Hours, another 48 Hours. Disturbia. Actually, Disturbia belongs over here. That's a really cool horror flick. Modern take on Rear Window. The Fugitive, I like that one. No Country for Old Men. Courage, Cowardly Dog. That is a really cool cartoon. It's crazy. By today's standards, the cartoons are pretty. I don't know what to make of those, but anyway, we got Instant Death with who is that? Can't think of his name. Lou Ferrigno. There we go, Lou Ferrigno. If you haven't seen that, that's a weird one. That's an action movie that Lou Ferrigno did, and he's just great in it because it's just like there's this part in the movie where he's trying to find. The story is nothing like to write home about, but his daughter is like in the hospital. She gets injured by some people. I think his granddaughter dies, or I can't remember, one of the two. And he does this like part where he's interrogating this fella, and he just gets in there and he's brutalizing him, and he says his line is like, normally you would say I want the location, I want this, I want that, all this information, and he grabs the guy, he's like location, time, and he's just got that that. The way he talks, and I'm not trying to make fun of the way he talks, but it's actually it's a fun movie to have. Crawl is another good one. That Crawl up there, if you like, animal creature type of, creature feature. I love that stuff. Any kind of I'm a sucker for crocodile or any of that kind of Jaws, sharks. But it's a catch-22. You want to know the true thing that scares me? Because I watch a lot of horror movies. All of this in the back of me is my horror movie section. Yes, all of this. This whole tower is 6 feet up in the air. You want to know the movie that scares me? Or it's the one thing that scares me? Sharks. Because I lived on the island and sharks were, oh my gosh. No sharks for me. No sharks for me. So, yeah, sharks were definitely a no-go for me. So... we brought out some stuff. I got some movies here. We'll talk about that. Got some iced tea tonight because it is night. You know what? Actually, I don't know about your neck of the woods, But at least we're out here, and even where my mom is in Northern California, it's a bit warm this fall, if I could say that. I hate the fact that I'm saying that. Actually, I'm more of a fan of the cooler weather. So, I, you know, I mean, I think out here in the desert, Arizona, for what winter we get in this area, is not bad. Wish it was a little bit, like I wish it got colder sooner. Like it took all the way here we are in late October and pretty much October 31st. What am I talking about? Late October. Well, during the time of we taped this on the night before, but it's only dropping down to like the 15, 59 degrees at best. It seems like. I wish it was a little bit better than that, but we'll see. Talk to me in December, right, when I'm freezing constantly. Um, anyway, I got some movies here. Some movies that I thought, yeah, some more recent pickups. I always go to the record store. I'm always supporting the record stores. This one's called Pieces. To my knowledge, it's a Spanish flick that was in the 80s. God bless the 80s, man. I tell you, all the great things came out of the 80s, like me. Self-aggrandizing. This is cool. This is a really cool movie. I mean, it literally is it's a maniac running around with a chainsaw, totally cheesy. This type of flick. I enjoy watching it. It literally is like an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. This film is over in a heartbeat, but it's fun because there's never a moment when you're watching this you're just like, oh, I want to turn it off and go watch something else. At least for me, I find it very entertaining. It's good. It's even got Christopher George in it. I mean, come on, and his wife, Linda Day George. So Christopher George did a bunch of these movies towards the end of his career. He did some horror flicks, and he was actually really good at them. The other one was Grizzly, which was basically Jaws, only a grizzly bear. Really cool movie, fun movie. I have it here somewhere. This other one here is the original from the 70s, Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror. Scream Factory did a bang-up job of re-releasing this in their uncut entirety because, if you can believe it or not, they actually censored this. By today's standards, it's actually comical. But they have some really cool episodes in this. Tales from the Crypt is the one that's my favorite because Tales from the Crypt has the blind school. That one, I forget what I don't even think they have names for the titles. But the guy Patrick McGee is in it, the guy from Clockwork Orange, that Malcolm McDowell assaults in the home. But he's in it, and the blind school episode, which they did remake in the 90s Tales from the Crypt episodes. That episode alone is worth the whole price of admission. It's my favorite episode, definitely. So if you haven't seen those are good oldies. But make sure you get the uncut version because at least it'll have some sort of redeeming gore effects for you. I'm a gore hound. I love all the Tom Savini work and all that. Okay, this next three are the Halloween 6 movies. Some people say there was that many of them. There was actually more of them. They're not very good past this one, to be honest with you. Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. I saw this in the theater. And I remember, what's funny is I remember when I went to go see this in the theater, I remember this being called The Origin of Michael Myers. Then later it became The Curse of Michael Myers. I thought I was crazy for a while, thinking, well, I am crazy. But I thought I was like thinking, did I not remember that correctly? But no, I guess apparently, yeah, because this one has two different versions of this movie. I found at the bookstore the producer's cut on Blu-ray. I had to pay a pretty penny for it, but this is a rare copy of it. And it's kind of funny because you used to see this in the dump bin at Walmart for $5, like constantly. And but yeah, the director, this is the producer's cut. It has a bunch of footage in it that laces together a storyline of Michael Myers. So kind of interesting. It's really it's worth having both copies. Of course, I got this, which is basically the theatrical version on Blu-ray. Comes with a double pack of the H2O version, um, but it was the only one I could get my hands on in the Blu-ray on the theatrical cut. Because believe it or not, this does not even have the theatrical cut. This is just strictly the producer's cut. Would have been awesome if they put both of them together, but that's what you get when people like Scream Factory doesn't get a hold of it. The other one I bought, these are two I bought recently. This one's definitely one that I didn't see, but I wanted to see it when it was in the theater. Cobweb. Um, it was $6.99. I figured I'll gamble at that because I've rented movies on Amazon for about $5 and just to see it. This one I owned it now. Interesting movie. Not really too big on the whole child like thing because they're kind of I don't want to say what I'm saying on here because I don't want to use that term, but anyway, they're kind of rough on the kid a little bit. I'm not really into that, but it was okay. It was interesting movie. You kind of almost felt like told you so, but not bad, not great either. Wouldn't go out running out trying to find it. The other one was Dario Argento's Deep Red. I saw this years and years ago. So when I saw this for sale at the record store, I had to grab it because this is an Arrow releasing. So it's got one of those. It's like a deluxe edition. So it's got the original version of it, which is all in Italian. You got to read the subtitles, or you got the export version, which I think most of us have seen. That's dubbed in English. But the reason this is so cool is because look at this. It's got all this stuff in it. I love these big box editions. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for it. That's the original cover. You got two of the discs in there. You got lobby cards. If you want to see the whole breakdown of this, check out my Stranger Oddities show, which this video is also being posted there. So if you're actually watching this on Stranger Oddities, I have a video completely unboxing this. So check that out. Really cool movie. It always has that memorable scene for me in the elevator where the I forget what it is. I don't think it's a necklace. I think it's something else. But anyway, if you haven't seen the movie, check it out. It's got a really cool scene in there. I bought these because I've been doing a lot of home improvement stuff. Well, not like nothing was broken. I was just adding on some stuff. I did a bunch of stuff in the back, and been buying up some tools that as I needed the tools here and there, some really decent tools. I used to do a lot of different construction and framing jobs when I was younger. Wasn't very good at it, but what it did, it taught me how to do stuff. Not necessarily I was the best at it, but I could do it. I could do, I could wing it and do it. Lately, I did I did a whole concrete walkway that's leading up to the picnic table and the picnic area. My what I'm calling my tacky tiki shack. So I did the whole a walkway over there because there's a 16 by 20. No, I'm sorry, a 16 by 8 slab that the picnic area rests on at the moment, and wanted that area to be nice because out here for whatever the heck reason, they got these little demonic little thorn things. They're like little cluster balls with these thorns that are just fierce. They remind me of back home on the island. There's a tree that produces thorns called the Kiawe thorn. I tell you, you will cry and roll up in a ball if you step on one of those. That thing will go right through your shoe. It is fierce. But out here, at least out here, they're not long. The Kiawe thorn is at least, like I said, that thing will go through your shoe. If you have some really soft-soled sneakers, that Kiawe thorn's going right through. But anyway, out here, there's these little irritating little clusters with these thorns that are sticking out. They are terrible. They stick to the bottom of your shoe. So that's a big reason why in the backyard I started laying down cement. Didn't really want to do that. I would have rather just stuck with the dirt, but if it wasn't for those stinking thorns, because the last thing I want to do is add more concrete to things, and not only that, it's just all it does is just keeps heating up stuff. That's the downside of it. It's just creating this giant like heating element out there during the summer, and it's like nothing to help, like, oh, we're supposed to try to cool down this summer, it's not make it worse. So I kind of, it's like a, anyway. So I cut up some really thick cardboard to put in between the slabs, and just to give it room as it breathes and everything. But I figured as a tool run, for whatever reason I always wanted these big old shears. So yeah, look at that. Talk about a horror movie. Because also think about that. How many of these are in the movies, right? Right? So, but they're actually useful. They're a really decent set of shears that can cut through some fabric and all that. These are 12 inchers. This is a Curing. The brand of this one is called Curing. I'm probably saying it wrong. I was trying to look for quality ones. Out of all of them, these were a little bit more. I think these were $30. Not too bad, but I thought they would be the better of the quality. I'm not saying that they're bad quality, but I'm also thinking that there's probably not a much difference between these and the ones that are like, I think $20 or maybe even less. So I would say go with those over these, because these are still the markings are questionable to me, because it just says a big number 12 right there, and the other ones that are cheaper have the same marking, and then instead these just say Curing. The box it comes in, pretty neat box. I think they spent more on the packaging. I think that's where the extra money goes. But it's still made in China, which kind of disappointed me a little bit. But that's okay. They're decent. I'm not regretting the purchase. They're cool. They work, but it was more, like, felt like Play Misty for me or something. Careful. Might put your eye out. But anyway, cool to have. I actually ended up using them to cut some strips of cardboard and everything, so that ended up pretty cool. So, my friend gave me this book, which is interesting, The Aloha Rodeo. Those of you that don't know, I am actually originally from the island of Hawaii, born and raised. I was definitely, an island boy, still am. Here's the interesting thing about all this is because some people know, some people don't know. I have actually family ties to a pretty big ranch family out there, and they're I've got an uncle that was actually so out there where I'm from is there's a place called Parker Ranch. Parker Ranch is the largest, to my knowledge, largest operating cattle ranch in the U.S. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that that's what I've read. And obviously in Waimea area, which I live about half an hour from Waimea. Waimea is strictly cowboy land. In fact, the stop signs don't say stop; they say whoa. Really cool area. If you've never been to Waimea, if you're ever on the Big Island, you've never been to Waimea, it's really interesting. It really is. In fact, I got some videos on the channel on the rodeo at Waimea, at Parker Ranch, the rodeo, and they go way back in the channel archives. I think they're still there. But yeah, I did some road trips and stuff like that out there and did that. Anyway, I've got family, and one of my family members is inducted in the Paniolo Hall of Fame, and that's big. That's big. You go to the Parker Ranch and you read the family name up there and everything like that. So it's kind of interesting how, I've always said it's kind of funny is because coming out here and you meet people that are like, they go and they buy the cowboy hat and they go to the Goodwill and they bought a bunch of stuff and they're going to play cowboy now. And yet I've got probably more cowboy blood running through my veins than they could ever imagine to have. They have, so it's interesting. They're just playing one. But I actually come from a family of ranchers and cowboys and stuff. And, so interesting. I always thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, I got a little kick out of that because I never really talked about that. So, and we got some stuff here. We'll talk about some other weird movies. What's another weird one? A Twilight Zone collection. The whole complete series. That's always fun to have. We have a bunch of some Stephen King stuff here. I got this one, Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings. This one came in. I don't know what I don't know if it's out of print, in print. Doesn't matter. It's not really that good. Offspring. That's a Jack Ketchum story. If you've ever read some of Jack Ketchum's books, Offspring. They're Off Season. That's the first one. Grit Your Teeth. That book is pretty gruesome. Sometimes it's hard to find. This one here, I got some of these Last House on the Left. That's another one of those Arrow box sets, like the other one I got, big, the Last House on the Left. Not like it's a great movie, but it's a classic. Tales from the Dark Side TV series. This is the Omen collection that the Scream Factory put out. Excellent collection. Obviously, once you pass the first Omen, really ain't that good anyway. So the Phantasm box set, we've talked about that a lot. That's the one that literally went out of print overnight. I've got them on DVD as well. So I'm trying to think of any of the other ones that we went to go see Strangers Chapter 2. I do like the Strangers series. Not sure, like Chapter 2, I like Rennie Harlan, okay? Rennie Harlan directed my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street film, Part 4. But man, Rennie, I don't know what you were thinking with that. That movie was just too full of I can't stand those horror films where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to run from the killer, but I'm going to run upstairs instead of the back door that leads out to the possible gas station I can get to on foot and get help. Evil Ed, that's a weird, bizarre one. I think that's a Swedish horror film from the 90s. The Last Voyage of the Demeter, that is a good one. I like that one for a modern film. In Violent Nature, that was dumb. That was hard to find this copy of this movie because for whatever reason, I'm not talking the movie was dumb. It was dumb to try to find that release. Now it's available, and so it's not so bad. But there's also a copy of Night of the Living Dead, the 90s remake that's directed by Tom Savini. That recently I heard about it. It was coming up, and they released it as an uncut version. Oh my God. I don't know what the heck happened, but I had no idea that was a limited release. I had no idea. And all of a sudden it was like, yeah, that's a limited release, and now it's like not available, and people were paying scalper prices on eBay for it. What the heck? I was so lucky with that I pre-ordered mine just out of just guessing, really. I saw it available once, and then it went unavailable, and then I'm like, this is not even out yet. What the heck happened? Am I seeing things? Maybe it's not. And then when I saw it available again for pre-order, I'm like, maybe I'll just pre-order it. Why the hell not? And I had no idea it was a limited release or anything like that. So anyway, all right, we got some cool guns to talk about. We'll talk about some guns, right? We always do. This one here is the ones that you don't really see on the channel. This is a Colt Diamondback with a 2.5-inch barrel. Why do I have a 2.5-inch barrel one? But this is a cool little snub. I like it because of the movie Bullet. Yeah, the movie Bullet with Steve McQueen. That's the only attraction to it, because these are just stupid expensive. I actually got lucky with this one on Gunbroker. The fellow that had it, nobody wanted to bid on his stuff because maybe perhaps his kind of stipulations were scaring people away. It was to my benefit. I outfitted it out with Deer Hollow wood grips. He did a bang-up job of making reproductions of the service grips here that would have been on this. Some people say, well, his was rounded on the bottom like the Detective Special. You should have went with those and all that, yada, yada, yada. Guess what? You don't really see the darn thing hardly in the movie, so and it kind of goes back to why the heck would I want this? But you don't really see it in the movie anyway. And so how do you really know? Because you really don't see the thing hardly. There's a shot in the end where it's laying on the table or something with it in the shoulder holster, and it's there, but you don't get a good look at it. In the last scene in the airport, he has it out, but you don't really, again, you don't see it. He's holding on to it, so you don't really see the grip. And then there's another scene where he's just slinging it on his shoulders to put his overcoat on. I guarantee you, I'll bet $100 that throughout that entire movie he ain't wearing it. He's just the only times you see it that they had it on set is that exact time. So anyway, last one here. We brought it out just to bring it out because I hadn't brought it out in a long time. This is just one of those forgotten cool ones that I still have. Browning Belgium High Power. This is a T-Series. And what all that means is these had a really awesome bluing job done to them. They're made in Belgium, and they're just super cool. Itty bitty sights, so they're terrible to shoot. But it is one of the. It's the first time I ever laid eyes on a Browning high power was this one, this model, not this exact one. But I've always wanted it. But I did not know that, of course, the one I wanted is just ridiculously expensive, and it took me a while to find them. And when I finally did, the one time I found one, the fellow wanted a ridiculous amount of money for it. But I held out, and over the years, I ran into another fellow that had one, and bought it from him for like probably half the, not even half, less than half the price that the guy wanted originally when I first saw him. So anyway, interesting. I got some VHS tapes here. I got Still of the Night. If you have not seen Still of the Night, that's an interesting movie. That's kind of a Hitchcock take on, it's got that flavor. It really is. What am I trying to say here? It feels like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say here. It's getting late here. So it's got Roy Scheider and Meryl Streep in it. That's a really interesting movie. It did make it to DVD. I own the DVD as well, but it's really hard to find. And when you find it, keep it, because they're rare. The Old Faces of Death. Oh boy, that the Gorgon video, the original VHS copy of that. Man, I remember the craziness and the going to the video store and seeing those, being so like scared of them, like wondering how bad could they be. They're quite comical by today's standards. I think you can watch the news and see worse. I got a lot of the Rob Zombie movies because he features his wife all the time. Nightmare City. That's an interesting Italian film. This is the Italian zombie films. Nightmare City is one that's really cool. That one I always said, it's like that's the one where the zombies got tools and then they run and jump after everybody. Hell of the Living Dead, I got that one. I watched it through. Nothing to write home about, but it's one of the classics. Lucio Fulci's Zombie 3. He did not enjoy making that. I think it somewhat shows because the movie's very sloppy. Four Flies on Grey Velvet. It's a Dario Argento film. I can't for the life of me remember what the hell that movie's about. New York Ripper, another Fulci film. Great one. Typical slasher, full of gore. Don't Torture a Duckling. It's another Fulci film. I haven't watched it in a long time. Zombie, classic. I mean, who doesn't like Zombie? City of the Living Dead, The Beyond. Those are part of the Gates of Hell series. The other one is House by the Cemetery, which I have. It's in the double pack here. The Beyond I have. It's in the Grindhouse extra stuff. The Black Cat Burial Ground. Those are great. This is a recent pickup I did. 2000 Maniacs, a Herschel Gordon Lewis film. This is totally sleazeball stuff. You may not even be able to stomach it because of the bad acting and the overdubbed stuff. But you got to remember, that was done in the 60s. That movie is weird. But I always like the things that they do in it. They just to give you a taste of it, they're going to put this guy in a giant whiskey barrel. It's open on both ends. And they force him in there, and the guy's struggling. Hey, get me out of here. I don't want to be in here. And the guy says, hey, you better stop kicking around there. We're going to do something with the barrel because you might get hurt moving around like that. And they pound these nails through the thing, and they roll them down the hill. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me on Halloween night. I won't take up too much of your time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and the content here and what we did. Did it for you, really, just to give you guys, for those of you that maybe are not too intrigued on, staying out there and answering the door 50 times throughout the year. But I got to say, though, you know what? Even for me growing up, I'm glad because Halloween was different then. And it's just different now. I don't know. I still think that the kids should enjoy it and experience it for what's left of it. But anyway, everybody knows my favorite holiday is Halloween. I'll see you guys next time.